Temple Bar, which until 1878 had actually been a gateway across the street. By the 1870s, the old gateway had become a notorious obstruction, and it was demolished in 1878. This photograph shows it just before its demolition, after which it was replaced by the Temple Bar Memorial, which was designed by the city architect Sir Horace Jones and unveiled in November 1880. It's at this point that Strand ends and Fleet Street begins, and as we pass it, we leave behind the city of Westminster and enter the City of London. As we pass Chancery Lane on the left, opposite on the right-hand side of Fleet Street stands number 17. At the time of the Jack the Ripper murders, this was a haircutter's and wigmaker's shop run by J. Carter. According to Herbert Fry, it was advertising, without evidence, that it had formerly been the palace of Henry VIII and Cardinal Wolsey, and sure enough, if you look above the second-floor windows, you can see the claim boldly emblazoned. The building itself dates from 1610, and it was originally a tavern called the Prince's Arms. Behind it is the Temple, consisting of Middle Temple and Inner Temple. These are two of London's 4 Inns of Court, where barristers have their chambers. It was at number 9 King's Bench Walk in the Inner Temple that Jack the Ripper suspect and qualified barrister Montague John Druitt had his chambers. Continuing along Fleet Street, we pass on the left the Church of St Dunstan in the west, and if we pause just after it, this is what we would have seen in 1888. You can see the side of the church's tower on the left of the photograph, and to its right are the London offices of the People's Journal, People's Friend, and Dundee Advertiser, a reminder that Fleet Street was at the time the street of ink, with many of the major newspapers of the day having offices on or around it. A little further along, and we pass the corner of Bouverie Street, where newlyweds William and Mary Nichols lodged for a time following their wedding in 1864. This was the Mary Nichols who would become the first of the canonical 5 victims of Jack the Ripper. Having passed Bouverie Street, we can look back again at the section of Fleet Street we have just walked along. On the right is the tower of St Dunstan's Church, and behind it you can just make out one of the pinnacles atop the Royal Courts of Justice in the distance. Turning to look east once more, we get a wonderful view of St Paul's Cathedral, which we will be heading past very shortly. On the left is the old Cheshire Cheese, located in Wine Office Court, a hostelry that was 221 years old in 1888, and which is still going strong today, its interior hardly changed, despite the passage of another 136 years since the year of the Jack the Ripper murders. Progressing a little further, we come to the corner of Shoe Lane. It was in Dawes Court, just off Shoe Lane, that Mary Ann Walker was born on the 26th of August, 1845. She would marry William Nichols in the Church of St Bride's, Fleet Street, which can be seen on the opposite side from Shoe Lane, in 1864, and would become Mary Nichols. Here is this section of Fleet Street as it would have looked towards the end of the 19th century, and St Bride's Church could be accessed via various turns on the right, this one being along St Bride's Lane. The church was bombed in the Second World War, but this is the interior of the church as it was when, on the 16th of January 1864, William Nichols married 18-year-old Mary Walker here. Beyond the church were the offices of Punch magazine, where many of the most readily recognisable images to do with the Jack the Ripper murders were created. Illustrations such as Blind Man's Buff, and perhaps most famous of all, the evocative Nemesis of Neglect. Fleet Street ends at Lgate Circus, a busy intersection beyond which Lgate Hill ascends to St Paul's Cathedral. The bridge over the road ahead is the Lgate Hill Viaduct, constructed in 1865 by the London, Chatham and Dover Railway. To its left is the King Lud pub, which had opened in 1870, and to the right of the giant Bovril sign is the Blackpool Tourist Office, reminiscent of an age when a trip to this northern seaside holiday resort would have been considered the height of glamour for many Londoners. You can see the top of an obelisk to the right in the photograph, but if we change our viewpoint and look towards Lgate Circus from New Bridge Street, there were in fact 2 obelisks, one dating from 1775 and the other from 1833. Moving further back along New Bridge Street, but still looking towards Lgate Circus, on the left are the offices of the Central News Agency, where on the 27th of September 1888 the Dear Boss letter was received. Written in red ink, it purported to have been sent by the Whitechapel murderer, and it gloated over his atrocities thus far, and warned that he loved his work and wanted to start again. The letter was signed Jack the Ripper, and once this missive was made public in early October 1888, it turned a series of sordid East End murders into an international phenomenon and catapulted the unknown miscreant responsible for them into the realm of legend. So it could be argued that New Bridge Street was the birthplace of Jack the Ripper.